I think we're about to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live. So welcome to Wise Beyond Bitcoin, where you come to not just wise up on crypto, but learn about the economic impact and potential of blockchain technology and the harmonious solutions that we get from it. My name's Lucas.
My name is Ryan.
I'm Jacob.
The trio, and we are here to share the good news, the great news. Obviously, if you're following blockchain and crypto right now, the last few days have been extremely bullish. We like to start every day with a market roundup. So from our website, wisebeyondbitcoin.com, which if you continue to check it out, there will be updates. And check it out. We got metric sites, news sites, a lot of our articles you can find from checking out these different crypto news sites. But without further ado, let's do the market roundup. And
so BitTorrent jumps out as a leader today, right? Up 17% on the day.
Nice.
I'm not an investor, so I'll just to put that out there. But I don't really know a whole lot about BitTorrent. I know they were purchased by Tron, right? Not too long ago, a couple of years ago.
And
I believe so.
That'll keep me off of it, and
right.
So that keeps me wary of the pump. I know BitTorrent wasn't that. Oh man, I don't want to. I'm just going to completely put my foot in my mouth. But it not like Napster, but file sharing. Wasn't it kind of like a file sharing for video or for other files, for media files of a sort? That's kind of where BitTorrent
it's a file sharing protocol, right? Okay. So I guess it'd be kind of like a decentralized Google Drive maybe, or Dropbox.
Okay, but didn't it exist before crypto? Like they tokenized.
No. The concept of BitTorrent is it's a technology.
Got it.
It's a torrent. It's a torrent technology. Torrenting is a way of splitting a file up, and you would it's like having like Napster was centralized, right? So you would download from another user. You have to connect to the server, and that was shut down, and that was easily shut down because it was centralized.
Right.
So torrent technology was a way of like sharding a file and splitting up the file, and you could download it from various people. Anybody who had the file could send a chunk of it to you, right? And so you were downloading packets of files, never entire files from any one place. And they also made it to where the files weren't stored on the server, centralized. They just had these torrent files, which were a little bit like titles, like instructions on what the file would be, and then you'd load that, and it would then source it from all the different people who have it. So it was just like a decentralizing file sharing technology, and it still is popular today for people who like to download on the internet.
Interesting. I understand more now what you're saying. I still don't know much about BitTorrent on Tron. I am very wary of really anything that is built on Tron. I don't want to get into that right now. People can do their own research. By the way, none of this is financial advice. It's all educational information. As we look to explore and learn more about these new technologies and where they fit in building the economy of the future. BitTorrent, where will that be? Well, if it's on Tron, my supposition is that it won't be around in the future.
Just kidding. That's fair. That is definitely fair.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just.
I like to see that third one down there too, Holo.
Oh yeah, well we're gonna get to that later. Holo Chain has been another major mover. And Holo Chain actually stands out. Okay, so Thorchain Rune had a hiccup recently earlier in the week. Did you hear about not a hack, but some issue? And I don't know the details, so I'll have to look it up. In fact, we can look it up here in a second. And it might be bouncing back from that Thorchain Rune. But you look at Holo Chain and Synthetics and Matic and Chainlink. I mean, these are solid, old-timey blue chips. I mean, Matic Layer 2. You're looking at, of course, Matic's for the last month. I mean, it's had a great run as a solution, as a viable solution. Matic has had a great run over the last few months. More and more people moving over to the Polygon Matic network and taking advantage of those lower gas fees and those fast transactions. So, I mean, one of our favorite projects, Wise Token. They are one of the original. There you go. Jacob represents always and always. No, they've been pioneering on a lot of chains. Thorchain is with Rune is with Binance Smart Chain, and of course Wise Token as on Binance Smart Chain and on Maddox Quick Swap, and on Harmony One's Viper Swap. But this Holo Chain, we got some good news to share later on. They have some interesting things happening, and they're very unique. Amidst all these other projects, Holo Chain stands out. Yeah, would you agree that Holo Chain stands out? And I guess why I say that is because all these other projects are tokens built on the Ethereum network for the most part, is what I'm looking at here. Okay, but Holo Chain is actually its own chain, and it's pioneering decentralized ledger technology by redoing it. Basically, it's not blockchain as we know it. And Jacob's got a couple articles. We've got a couple articles. We'll talk about that later. But that's just, it's good to know that Holo Chain still continues to have legs and move up, because we kind of have been around Holo Chain since it first began. I don't wish, but it would have been nice to have packed some bags when we first met Arthur Brock back at Voice and Exit. But if it is what it is. Wasn't to be. Yeah. So VeChain has been one of the strong projects in the last couple of days, and so is Aave. Okay, so I feel that Aave is definitely a blue chip DeFi project when it comes to cryptocurrency. If you're looking at cryptos and you're saying, well, I mean, what projects, should I diversify into for, and this is not financial advice, but if I were looking at blue chips and those projects that are solid and that will be around, I will mention it fast because Jacob's wearing the shirt. We just talked about it. Wise Token, I'm going to put that in the basket as a sleeper and as a hot project to be, because what they've achieved already in their first year with massive lot liquidity, they're going to be around in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. There's been no bugs, no hacks, and they continue to build layers. So it's one of those things that as projects come up and come down and you find things where developers run away and there's bugs, those few projects that are operating and doing what they said they're going to do, they'll continue to gain more traction and more value as more people start educating themselves and learning about the projects. But
yes, and I think the innovation of the ownerless liquidity is really where they stand out, right? And,
that's it. It's allowing Uniswap decentralized exchanges serve as basically the bank teller with the window that will never shut on you. I mean, when we talk about bank runs and the issues that people have had with intermediaries holding their funds in the past, this is kind of the beauty of what smart contracts can do. In that sense, to be able to have a redeemable asset that will always be there whenever you go to that window to redeem it, that asset of value will always be there. That'd be like if you could guarantee that the gold would always be would be behind that certificate. People never would have left the gold standard. People never would have left a commodity standard if there was some way to guarantee that people could not hack, bug, run away with your funds, print more money on your funds, and that anytime you went there with your coupons, that your silver or gold would be there. That would be around. That's a solid concept. So for that use of smart contracts and blockchain, I'm super excited where that's going to stand as cryptocurrency, as DeFi, medium of exchange. But I look at these projects, and if we were to talk about what you think would be around, what we'd be talking about in a couple years.
Cardano, there'll be another one.
Cardano for sure, absolutely. Polkadot, I'd put on that list. I put Litecoin. I would put Litecoin for sure.
I would consider Chainlink on that list.
Chainlink, absolutely.
Chainlink for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Solana. I think Solana's going to stick around. They've already have some major partnerships and are moving and working.
And Polygon, that goes without saying.
Polygon,
Yeah.
because, well, let's say Ethereum's going to be around for a few years, and as more people pile into blockchain and work on these networks like Ethereum, CryptoKitties and many events have shown that we need more second layer solutions. Even Polygon Matic is working to bridge partnerships and so that they don't get clogged on their networks. And shucks, it still takes you 7 days to get off of Polygon. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, right? 7 days. It takes you get on really quickly, but it takes 7 days to get off.
Right.
It depends. There's actually two chains that you can use, and so one chain it takes upwards of like maybe an hour or two.
Okay.
And the other chain it's like 7 days, but it depends because one chain is more secure than the other in terms of processing payments. It actually goes really in depth on like how they're like their own side chains within Polygon. It's very interesting.
That's cool. VeChain Thor is another one, right?
Yeah, VeChain. I was going to say Theta for sure. VeChain, Algorand. Algorand is a great background and a great team, and I feel that they're one to look at. We already know how I feel about Tron. Monero, Monero,
they had issues with the supply function, right?
Yeah,
the issue with Monero.
Yeah, long term, I just don't. I think there might be better privacy, but I do love what they represent as one of the early pioneers of
Yes.
Ring signature, Ring CT protocol for privacy. Aave, that's what I was getting to. Aave, this I feel is another sleeper, one of the major DeFi projects built on Ethereum for Ethereum. Aave, and speaking of what they offered, that's going to be something else cool to see what Peter and the team at Wise have, because they're also looking at rolling out lending and borrowing on assets off of Wise.
Yes,
so,
that's right.
Luna, okay, that's another one that you look at what they want to do with stable coins and bring in a basket of different stable coins from around the world. Just to stabilize each other, to create that arbitrage, and I think that's huge.
It's a sound idea.
Very sound for creating a worldwide stable coin as people from different countries start coming through regulated portals. Luna might be something that you find has a lot of support worldwide if you're finding it being pegged to various countries.
They're looking at drawing including the special drawing rights, SDRs. Isn't that correct? As a part of that basket?
That's right.
That's huge.
That's big.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's one I got to look at.
I
don't even know about that.
Cosmos and Tezos. I've heard some stuff from a young man that develops on that many months ago, so I still keep an eye open for that. But I won't go down the whole market cap. But there's of those we just mentioned, I think those are some blue chips that'll be around. We can talk about those a year from now and be smiling. And a lot of projects a year from now you can talk about and be smiling. Now, I don't know, did anything else stick out to you on the big gainers? For me, it was that synthetics. We love synthetics.
Got to mention
synthetics.
Yeah.
Big fans of that project.
What's your favorite?
I saw they have over $1 billion of total value locked now.
Is that right? Was that on their website?
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little about what synthetics is, what it does?
Yes, they offer, I believe it's on the Ethereum. Isn't it on the Ethereum network?
It is.
So they offer various digital derivatives of popular stocks and crypto assets. So you can buy, say, synthetic Tesla or synthetic Apple, or and there's many others. So you can buy synthetic stocks, which are really just indexed to the actual stock. So you're not buying the stock itself; you're buying an index that's tied to it. So you're not going to interfere with you're buying this won't influence up or down the price of these assets. And you can also buy synthetic Bitcoin and synthetic ETH and various other crypto assets. And they also include an inverse investment. What do they? I can't remember what they call that. Is that the inverse Bitcoin? Is that how they call it?
You're right.
Yeah,
IBTC
that's what it is.
inverse.
IBTC, yeah. So it's basically just the opposite of Bitcoin. As Bitcoin goes down, this would go up, and as Bitcoin goes up in price, this IBTC investment would fall. So it's just the inverse of. And the SBTC or S Tesla or S Rune, that's the synthetic version of those assets. So they're just basically replicating all these different financial assets and giving you a way to make a play.
Very cool. Very cool. And you're talking about in a world where it's a market that's open 24/7 and you have complete control. Here we go. Now it's finally the page just popped and loaded up, and you can see what you were talking about. Synthetic USD, synthetic GBP. Obviously, those are stable. Those are actually fiat currencies. Synthetic Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB.
So consider this: if you're a currency trader used to trading in the forex markets, and if there's any liquidity issues or slippage issues with the broker dealer you're using, this is a way of engaging in some of those same trades using the Ethereum network. So that's pretty cool.
And allowing access to the market 24/7. That's the all right. Well, we've kind of, I think, have we covered the market overcap for the most part? We've seen what's really popping right now, and
for the most part,
Bitcoin is the big story, right? Didn't they kind of lead the day?
It did. Bitcoin's actually been the big story for a while. I mean, especially when it's the leading cryptocurrency with the largest market cap. But when you have something with that big of a market cap move 20%, 10%, 12% in a day, that's a big deal. So,
right.
What do you have to say about what's going on with what caused it?
This is a good article right here. So it looks like there was a short squeeze that was set up. There was according to this article, there's around $1 billion in positions, short positions that were leveraged short positions that were liquidated in this push, and it's a bit of it's sort of similar to what we saw with GameStop, right? Where you see a whole lot of where the market can see that these short positions have been taken, and if you don't believe that the overall trend justifies that, if it's too many shorts, essentially, like maybe people are too pessimistic, then it's an opportunity to take the other side. And if enough people take the other side and bet against the short position, they end up, it's a bit of a tug of war happens, and then eventually the shorts are liquidated, right? Because these are positions that are taken on margin, which means that they're on borrowed money. And when the broker or the exchange sees your position go against you, you're trading on their money. So they say, well, we don't want to lose any more money. We're going to liquidate this position, and then all your coins belong to us now, right? Is the result. So that's kind of what's going on here. A big Bitcoin spike, and the other thing that's really heartening or encouraging about this is this spike is occurring right as Tether gets some not so great news.
That's right.
About looking at charges that are going back to activities they engaged in years ago, and the Department of Justice is investigating. There could be some criminal charges surrounding bank fraud they're looking at, and that's in a normal atmosphere that would be enough to send markets at least sideways or down for the day. Well,
you say that. I mean, let's talk about Tether news, and Tether FUD has driven markets down in the past. So what you're saying is absolutely right. I mean, we've lived through it where, and we've got actually a chart later on. I don't think it's in this article. We'll get to it in a minute to show how much it's in the next article to show how much value Tether brings to cryptocurrency market, right? I mean,
it's market cap. It's huge.
It's huge compared to the other stable coins, and so the liquidity that it offers, the value that it physically brings in on its balance sheet is huge. Now, one thing that I wanted to mention. So we're looking at Tether executives facing criminal bank fraud charges, allegedly. Apparently. Now, we know that Tether just went through something with was it New York State?
Yeah, it was the SEC.
It was at the SEC. Okay, I thought it was also something New York State.
Okay, maybe
might have been, but in regards to their collateralization or how their books were they balanced?
Right.
Were they backed? Could they?
Do they have the collateral
proper
they claim
backing?
to have?
Exactly, and it shows now they're audited. They're over collateralized. So these charges about Tether are not whether or not they have what they say they're going to have. It's not that.
Right.
The claim is that they were not transparent with banks, that they were dealing in blockchain cryptocurrency transactions many, many years ago when they first started. That's
right.
That's the claim. And
that they didn't put that out. They didn't reveal that or make that
And
known.
Tether's kind of like, yo,
should have known.
My name is Tether. Like, my name is Tether. Do you have any idea what you loan billion? Like, time out. If you're a bank and you're the guy, you're like, yeah, okay, we're going to loan you billions of dollars.
And you have no clue.
And you have no clue that there's a whole marketplace that's trading these things called Tether, USDT.
Well, you should just know what's this entity do that you're loaning all this money to? What do they make? What do they sell? Who buys it?
What do they tell you? They're planting trees? I want to find the original paperwork.
If it's that easy to go get a loan from a bank,
I think you should be more ashamed at the incompetence of the bank that gave them the loan. If I was the U.S. Department of Justice, I'd be like, what did you mean? What did you think they were doing? Like, for how long?
Right.
When did you realize it? Now, after they've just won a suit against the whoever the heck, and now it's like, because I would say this, we can move on to the next article. It's connected, unless you want me to go back and I missed something.
No, that's
from
cool.
that.
This one gets into a little bit more detail.
Because this is the one that has what I want to show. Okay. If you work for the SEC or the U.S. Department of Treasury, my brother, my sister, my friend, look at what's going on. Don't let someone fool you or use your position of authority to do something silly. Look at Tether. Look at how it's audited. It's backed. It has the collateral there. Some in U.S. bonds, and a lot of it is supporting the U.S. economy. Obviously,
sure.
It's huge in what they've. So they're doing it. They're doing all this, and to go after Tether over a bank saying, well, we think that many years ago they didn't explain to us exactly how this crypto. I think if many years ago, a lot of the banking institutions still didn't understand how this stuff works. I mean, what were they supposed to write on the sheet? But again, I go back to, if you're loaning a company millions of dollars and billions of dollars, someone should know kind of what they're doing when they make that loan, and not wait years later to be like, wait a minute, this was for cryptocurrency? Tether, wait a minute, you're using this for crypto? I don't know.
Right.
Seems a little disingenuous. Or
it goes along with what, if you read further down that article, it says that that Tether and Bitfinex were sued in 2017 by Wells Fargo, and they were sued because they sued Wells Fargo in 2017 because Wells Fargo was blocking their wire transfers, and they said that they made the exact same point, is that you guys should have known that this was what we were doing,
right? And the companies dropped the case. And
right.
So
it's been. The point is that this has been an issue. This discussion and this story is not brand new. This has been an issue. With Tether's dealt with similar issues before, and I think to your point, it's that after they cleared the biggest hurdle about establishing that it's a viable collateralized asset, now they're having to deal with this secondary issue that just popped up, and it's kind of convenient. It's like, whoa, your main argument failed, so how convenient is it that we're seeing this new attack, right?
But and you're right, and I would say why I brought this up. Look, this is a huge boon and support to the infrastructure, the growth. This is providing a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of people, companies, institutions, however, through whichever mechanisms have come in to support the growth of blockchain technology through Tether.
I think the reason you're seeing this attack on not just Tether but on stablecoins in general is because these assets really represent one of the best alternatives to the dollar that exists. I mean, Bitcoin and ETH and all these other investments are more like digital gold or digital securities or whatever. But this is actually like digital money.
Right.
It doesn't change
dollars.
Value. It's pegged.
Right.
It's called a dollar.
Right.
It's actually better money than the fiat dollar because it doesn't devalue.
Well, it does.
Paper dollars.
It does.
It's pegged.
Because it's pegged.
Right.
It does devalue.
Yeah.
But here's where it's better. It's better in that if you look at the vehicles, like if you have real money, I mean, and no matter what kind of money you have, it's real money. But I'm just saying, let's look at the value that the digital marketplace brings. If you have millions of dollars, look at the interest rate that you're going to get in traditional finance, and look at the loopholes that you have to go through in order to pull out money, move money, whatever it is. Now go look in DeFi projects, even quasi CeFi projects, where if you will move your fiat into the digital marketplace, the interest rates, the returns that you will get are several percent,
10 times
higher than what you'll get in traditional finance.
Right.
So that alone, even if you're like, I don't want to mess around with all these different digital products and cryptocurrency, I don't know. Even if you just want to stick to moving your money, you recognize that paper money and the fiat is an older technology. Like, well, I'm just going to be simple and be old fashioned and keep it in dollars. Now that I've got it in USDC, Binance, DAI, Terra, US, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now
you're staking it and making 7-8% a year
annual, right?
Annual interest, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's the threat. That's the threat of these products.
And what's also, here's another pink elephant, whatever color elephant. A big old elephant in the middle of the room. Guess what else you can do with stable coins that you can't do with fiat legal tender dollars in traditional finance? You can get immediately a loan, a collateral-based loan on your assets with no intermediaries. Right now. You don't need a credit check. You don't need someone to... Nothing. Just, do you have the collateral to back it up? Oh, okay. Well, here's the interest rate that you'll have to pay back. Thank you very much. You can go get a loan right now based on your collateral, and you can't do that in just by wherever you are. You have to have an account. Go here. Go to the barriers to entry. Fill out this.
Then you have to be approved, first of all.
Yeah, right. So. And that's the beauty of decentralized finance and blockchain technology. You want that. You want a world where human corruption or error can get in between what is economically viable. If someone can take a resource and borrow it and then pay it back at whatever that interest, then great, do it. And that's what the DeFi bank is saying. If you have the collateral, great, you can take the loan. And if you can't pay,
we got a comment we need to address. I'm sorry, I didn't have an eye on the chat. So, Football Kings wants to have an idea about a prediction on Holo Chain. Any end of the year predictions for 2021?
I don't even know what it is right now. What's Holo Chain at?
It's 0.0006, I believe.
Well, we don't do predictions.
Yeah, that's not really our thing.
At all. I don't do predictions. It makes,
I don't think predicting the market is the way to look at it. I think the way to look at it is predict on whether or not they follow through with the roadmap that they built out. And I always try to look at the roadmap of whatever chain you're looking at. Look at the roadmaps and see Did they follow up on this promise? Did they achieve the things that they set out to? And what's their track record look like?
Are they
their history?
Are they sticking with their plan or not?
Exactly.
I mean, if you just want to, like, you know, have a warm fuzzy, I mean, what's the potential? What's the potential of Holochain? Well, I mean, it's a small market cap. It's its own chain, and there's a lot of room for growth. So if the whole crypto market's bullish and a lot of things grow, and we've seen what things like Hex and others have done and grown from that. I mean, I would say, let me just make up a number.
I would say it'll probably be over a penny.
Oh yeah, over a penny for sure. I would say it could make a run up close to 10 cents. I could say it could make a run up close. If we look at a bullish crypto market where Bitcoin and Ethereum are making new all-time highs, and we look at real interest coming into digital assets, because we're going to get to that in the news later. But what we're really looking at is a lot of investment is going to be pouring into different projects that are viable. And we've got some news to share later in this live stream as to Holochain and what they're doing to make themselves stick around for a while and be of use and be viable there. But, you know, I'm making up a number. It's a small market cap. Not a lot of people know. Cryptocurrency, the market's still young. I mean, look, if you were to say that about Ethereum, pardon me, let me go to the market cap. Where do you think Ethereum? Well, shucks. I have no idea where. I know that I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum could be close to $10,000 by the end of the year. I don't think
that'd be very bullish. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I can see it.
3 or 4 would be also very likely to see.
Yeah.
A return.
That's more realistic. That's more realistic. But I say its previous all-time highs is over $4,000. Do I foresee that Ethereum's permanent all-time high is $4,000? No. Do I think Bitcoin's all-time high $60,000? No. And whenever we do that retracement, if it's by the end of the year, I'm just pretending in my head that it's by the year, then seeing ridiculous growth in other altcoins markets at the same time.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised, you know, especially
with what Holochain's doing.
Exactly, which we'll get to later. So,
hopefully that answers your question, football.
I hope we answered it.
But if not, I'm sorry.
Apologize. Okay, so we got
Amazon.
Tether
about Amazon.
and Tether, and good news on what's going on with Amazon.
Well, a few days ago, they let it be known they were hiring a digital currency and blockchain product lead. So that was a job posting they made, and now there's talk that they're going to be integrating Bitcoin and crypto payments into their platform by the end of the year, I believe is what it says. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're going to be talking about rolling out their own token by 2022.
Wow!
So lots of good news here. They say they're also going to include the top 10 market cap of cryptos. Of being potential payments on their site.
That's huge. That's huge news.
Mm-hmm.
And
very much.
They're mentioning central bank digital currencies. Interesting.
The CBDCs, yes.
Yep. Can see that playing a role in attracting market share.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know.
So yeah, this is just you can file this under institutional interest in the blockchain space. That's kind of a theme I guess we're talking about today, right?
That's one of the themes is that more bullish news when it comes to institutional interest in traditional finance. I mean, it's so bullish, and we're seeing so much adoption, integration taking place. That's why I laugh when we go back and look at what the prices are at right now. We've seen Bitcoin at over $60,000 before all this integration, before all this was taking place. Same thing with Ethereum. Before all these announcements of Visa and MasterCard settling payments on USDC on the Ethereum network and other things that are being built on. So the potential for growth in these markets is just
huge.
It's huge. It's mind-boggling. So it's not rational to the mind if you're used to traditional financial markets. That's for sure. That's why it might take you a while to get in, because you think, oh, wait a minute, 6% growth in one day, 10%, 12% growth in one day. That's not sustainable.
That's going to retrace.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there is retracements totally that happen. That's for sure.
But it's not going to be on the timeline that people are used to in the traditional financial markets.
No, and you've addressed it before, but we can mention again. Why is it? And the answer is because it's a new emerging market. It's the volatility is there in thinner markets that aren't as established because they don't have as much investment, as much money. It's kind of like it's easier to turn a small boat than it is a large ship.
Yeah. It's also the same story with economic growth, right? When you have a developing economy, they tend to grow faster than a developed country, and it's because they have so much more low-hanging fruit that's available to kind of exploit. So many investments that are right there available that are very productive, and so you tend to see higher growth rates with smaller economies. And I guess it's similar. It's like another example of that point.
Well, this is a huge article, huge news. Amazon integrating Bitcoin payments, and they're not the only major player that we have to talk about. Is it
JP Morgan is another one.
Well, yeah, let me skip this and come back to the little Texas news. Talk about JP Morgan.
Okay, yeah, this is a good story. This is about their opening up access to crypto funds for all their wealth clients. And they specifically mentioned Grayscale investments and Osprey funds as two that they're going to be, including. And this is along with the disclaimer that they're not going to be recommending these products. They're just going to be allowing them. They're going to basically they're going to execute the trades, the buys and the sells, but they're not going to be soliciting these investments.
But four of the products, like you mentioned, are from Grayscale and one from Osprey. Well, Grayscale's in the news all the time at how bullish they are and creating financial investments in alternate currencies in different cryptos. They're constantly announcing a new DeFi fund or a new altcoin that they're adding and listing. So, I mean, if you want to know what's a nice, simple blue chip portfolio to pick, if you're new to crypto, go take a look at Grayscale and see what they're adding to. That's one thing. Let them do some research for you. Because the more institutional access to their investments, the more those alts will grow for sure. It's definitely bullish news for their portfolio.
There's a Bank of America article that goes right along with that JP Morgan article. It'd be good to.
You're right. Let's go right to that. Boom.
Yeah, they're basically allowing or
supposedly.
Bitcoin. Yeah, well, that's right. Supposedly, that's the adjective. Supposedly, allowing Bitcoin futures trading. So that's very cool. So this would be an exchange that you would make with another person, an agreement to buy in one day and or buy some to exchange at a certain price in the future, right? And
this is interesting.
Institutional.
More institutional support, more banks looking to join investing in crypto. But let's think about this. So futures trading, Bitcoin futures trading by Bank of America, can you foresee a how do I say it? A loss of market share looking at all the products that are out there in the digital economy? Like you could trade Bitcoin futures in cryptocurrency world like synthetics,
right?
Versus Bank of America, where you have all this.
Right.
So now I know for a lot of people who have no desire to learn this new technology, be a part of it because of where they're at in their life right now. But for the most part, I feel like the bulk of futures trading in Bitcoin and crypto could possibly take place on the blockchain, or at least a lot of it on the blockchain.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just
Well, and this article actually kind of touches on some of this. It says that if you scroll down, it says that Chicago Mercantile Exchange has recorded an increase from 910,000 to more than 23 million in Bitcoin futures trading. So it's definitely seeing a growth in the amount of the volume that they're dealing with. I kind of feel like what you're saying will probably be true long run when this space really matures,
Sure.
And then we become more comfortable with it as a people, as a society. But right now it feels like directly operating on the blockchain is a bit of a tech. You have to have some technical knowledge, and if the people who are traditionally buying futures and investing, they're more of an older crowd, and I don't know if there's as many people of that generation and of that group that are comfortable with blockchain enough to actually use it themselves. I feel like they're gonna want to trust these sorts of intermediaries. That the CeFi layer will probably be viable for a long time.
I was looking at this article. So the U.S. we're talking about Bank of America, but we're looking at a little bit of competition. Singapore's Bybit is one of the major Bitcoin futures trading platforms out there right now. So we can see maybe a battle for market share coming from different countries. And then
I would rather have, if I was going to be doing trading I would rather be trading out of Singapore than out of the CME.
Did you see this article? UK salesperson pleads guilty for using Bitcoin to fund Islamic State.
No, I have not seen that.
That just sounds like a funny headline. I don't even know how.
I'll tell you what.
How does that work?
Digital assets to fund terrorism, maybe don't choose Bitcoin. Just saying. Do 5 seconds of research.
I don't. And that article is
stay away from
just. That's what are you selling, by the way? What UK salesperson? Like, is he a car salesperson? And someone was going to go buy.
Definitely a financial products.
Okay.
That's UK is huge. It's all about
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Moving on.
Oh,
you want to do the Crypto Cowboys?
I do.
About the mining in Texas.
I do. Let's get that. Let's power through that.
Okay.
So, if you're in Texas, then you've got some great energy deals. There's some, you've got Enron Stadium, but that's what it used to be, Enron, and that went down, and now it's Tesla. But Texas has always kind of pioneered in alternative energy. They've had large subsidies for wind farms and other things, and of course oil and gas. So energy costs and prices tend to be a lot lower in Texas, and with that, it's drawing a lot of support for miners to get in the game. Is that pretty much the story?
Yeah. As China steps out of the game, Texas is stepping in. That's kind of the story, because there's bans that are occurring, and there's a lot of crackdowns on mining in China, and so those products and those investments and those companies have to go somewhere, and they're looking for the most friendly environment, and Texas has made it a point to make its jurisdiction open to crypto investment and crypto businesses. So it's, along with Wyoming, I believe, is another that's trying to be a leader. Or is it Utah? No, I'm sorry, Utah is trying to be a leader in crypto.
Well, it's the land, it's the space, the cheap space, and the cheap energy, and it's those two elements.
And the workforce. They said that there's a good labor force where they're at, and there's also incentives, public subsidies to train this local workforce that they're in this area they're in, because it's a depressed area. So there's a couple different things that are factoring in.
Well, I think that's great news for Texas. I mean, it's just another diversification to stabilize the economy, and what a blessing it is to the people around that area to be able to have something else to do. You got oil and gas, you got the Gulf and the shipping channel, and you got everyone coming in from California. So Texas has a lot of good things going for it, it looks like.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. Did we already get to this news? Not really.
The the PayPal story.
I was going to talk about this when you were all excited about Amazon. You got me thinking about PayPal, and Amazon would have been a good follow up.
Yes.
But what do we have?
Okay, so PayPal is hiring an executive from Chainalysis to study the regulatory issues surrounding cryptocurrency because PayPal is looking to expand their crypto options for digital payments, right? So this is all about just innovating the new ways, the new platforms that are going to connect the crypto space to the actual broader economy, so you can spend your digital assets. And this is you can file this again under institutional interest, but I think it's more specifically about helping people to spend their crypto.
That's a good point. It's like all this value and all this wealth that's being generated by those jumping into the market. Okay, well, how do you capitalize? How do you take profit, so to speak? And seeing that Amazon, like you were talking about, being able to spend crypto on Amazon, being able to spend your digital assets through PayPal, these are just huge gateways, opening the floodgates, so to speak, for allowing a lot of digital wealth to enter the marketplace. A lot of pent up digital wealth to enter the marketplace.
Because when I'm talking to people who aren't into crypto about the gains that can be made and the returns and some of the projects and kind of giving a pitch about why they should be into it, one of the first questions they always say is, okay, I can earn money, I can see my assets go up, but how do I spend it? How do I make this real? And the old story has always been, well, you can always sell it, you can put it into an exchange and then sell into your bank account and pay taxes that way. Or if you want to, be really clever, you find someone you could sell it to directly for cash, or you can get one of these payment cards, BlockFi and so on. But there's always been, a very limited number of options. But now that Amazon and PayPal and even before this, the Cash App and Venmo, they're all these new options for spending it's starting to open up the answer to where it's not just one or two pathways. Now it's like, well, sit down, I'll give you a list of ways that you can spend your crypto. And I think that's helping to kind of onboard people. It's kind of the last hiccup in the whole story of why they should be involved. It's like, well, you can make a lot, but if you're not able to spend it easily and there's all these transaction costs just to spend it, then that's less attractive, right? Mm-hmm. But now that this is changing and you can even just use PayPal, which is, basically good anywhere. Everybody's got a PayPal account.
Now, there's been Coinbase and Gemini and Kraken. There have been accounts where you can connect your bank. And for those who understand and have the time and go through that process and have bank accounts. But wasn't the whole point of this was to help people in the unbanked?
Right. Exactly.
What about all those people who are part of the digital economy that don't have bank accounts and they're unbanked?
Right.
Now they can participate too. Now because
anybody can download PayPal to their phone and sign up.
Yep. So that's huge news. That's more bullish news, but more than just bullish news about crypto. It's just great to see how the market's maturing over the years. Like, many times we think, was it in 2017 there was that Project Metal that was talking about sending cards to everyone where they'd be able to spend. Well, it was an idea, and maybe they were working on it. They raised a lot of money and before it fell through, but a lot of these ideas that were on roadmaps years ago are actually coming to fruition. We're actually seeing these things happen. A crypto card or a different protocol where you actually can spend your digital assets directly and in different ways. Nifty. I
remember when Overstock was one of the first merchants that was online that was significant. A big merchant. They took crypto, and that was a big story when that happened. So yeah, it's nice to see it continue.
Speaking of worldwide stories,
Crypto ATM.
Big fan.
This is very bullish.
Big fan of crypto ATMs because for helping the unbanked, there are people. We actually made a video on this a while ago. We'll make another one on how to use it. But there's a lot. Talk about helping the unbanked. There's people who work all over the place that don't have banks, and they get paid in cash. And this is allowing people to go straight to a machine with just a phone and convert a small amount of your fiat into crypto. Now, it's only for small amounts. You can't do it for large amounts, which is fine. But for having that available, every little bit, you add your acorns up over the years and over time, and every little bit helps. But it's more just about more access. Talking about how many increase.
It's onboarding. It's just making it easier to onboard the users that make networks valuable, right? Because the network effect story is what this is all about,
right?
And if there's only a small sliver of people, so like a ceiling on their value, right? But when you can spread it across the entire economy, and you start onboarding, the majority of people in the economy, that just grows the network so much more, and it makes it so much more valuable.
You're right. And everyone's seeing it, walking around the malls, walking around the community, going and the gap. The more you see them, the less daunting and frightening it is. It becomes something that you become more interested and more open.
I was shocked to see that, according to this article, that the United States had last year installed on average 48 ATMs per day. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the last 7 days. Okay, so over the last 7 days, they did it 48. We've done in the U.S. 48 per day, 48 wow. ATMs, that's insane.
That's huge.
That's a good number.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Cool. Jacob's being so patient, and we mentioned Holo Chain earlier, and we were getting there.
Why don't we talk about Shopify? And then we can go on to Holo Chain.
Well, we're almost
that Shopify article is
We'll do it. Let's go. We got one more, and then we go into it. We got the DeFi. Remember?
Yeah, we can do the DeFi, but that's not something we need to touch on necessarily.
Yeah, we're gonna touch it. We'll touch on it.
We'll touch on it.
All right, but go ahead and start with the Shopify. Let's talk about what Shopify is doing with NFTs.
Okay, yeah, they're allowing their merchants the ability to sell NFTs directly. So on their third party. So Shopify is kind of like a platform where you can have a marketplace and sell. It's a lot of small businesses on there. And now they're opening it up to NFTs. And that's huge because Shopify is it's a massive platform.
Yes, I would love to figure out a way to use a Shopify site to...
How cool would it be if you could take your NFT and just, because Shopify, they sell like all kinds of products, you know what I mean, right? Like you could do shirts with your NFT. How cool would that be?
You mean like
those together? Yeah.
Let's see something that's on a Shopify site. Let me check out.
I know a soap company on there.
Wait a minute. Here's a Shopify site. Holy market. What's that? Handmade, vegan, organic, old-fashioned premium soap. What? It's a shave soap and a shampoo bar? That's right, folks. Jacob,
we just got to find an NFT layer.
This is. Did you know about this soap? Did you know about this, Jacob?
No.
This is soap.
This is I make this soap. This truly is a premium old-fashioned soap. I learned it from a soap maker. I was thinking about making funny little commercials and adding it in the middle of our streams or different times. But this is I got the shipping included. If you want to order, I got soaps and bath salts. And look, it all comes 3-pack, 6-pack, 9-pack, lavender, rosemary, tea tree, all these. Bam, they're large cut. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. But this is a Shopify site, and I say it because I would love to find a way to include NFTs somehow. Like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, a golden ticket, like straight up. One of these soaps is going to have a card that...
Yeah.
And it has a redeemable code for an NFT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
we'll
like
figure
it.
Out. We'll toss that around.
Well, we can't. we can't procrastinate too much longer. We got so Shopify NFTs. We talked about that. That's going to be huge for I mean for NFTs and for Ethereum right now. They're the main NFT player. And this real quick, DeFi, a banker, a president of a bank, is it Thailand or Singapore?
Yeah, I think it's Thailand.
A commercial bank,
or it could be Singapore. No, it's Thailand. Yeah.
He says DeFi cannot be regulated. And real quick, this is a topic that we want to mention or talk about over and over again, because that's the whole point. I mean, that's really why blockchain technology and cryptocurrency exists as an alternative. What's funny is when you talk about how to regulate, it's like we have a smart contract. You get it? We don't need intermediaries because we literally have an ecosystem that's automated. It's automated. You take your package good and you scan it across. You don't hand it to someone to scan for you. It still gets scanned. It's automated. Right. The system's changed and it works. So I just think it's funny because the regulators, the regulation, these intermediaries have all been about monitoring systems where money can be counterfeited. There's no counterfeiting in Bitcoin. There's no counterfeit Bitcoin running around. So you can completely eradicate that team. What other teams do we need to get rid of? I mean, that's my point, is that this technology makes obsolete many of these other jobs that we needed to protect and prevent corruption. You don't worry about the corruption. It's transparent. It's on a public ledger. So
to even speak more on that, I believe that blockchain technology makes so many middleman jobs obsolete.
Totally.
So many.
Totally.
And that's kind of what this is about. That's like the subtext here. It's like these bankers who are calling for some pathway to regulation or some way to integrate DeFi with the broader traditional economy. Part of that, they're talking about doing something about fraud and protecting the consumer. But how much of this is about protecting their own market share? Because the writing's on the wall. With investments like Synthetics or Aave or Compound or Wise, you're replacing the need for these centralized intermediaries. Well, that's what you're saying.
You're right. Go back to Wells Fargo. What just happened to them? They had their whole consumer credit line taken away. So when you talk about protecting the consumer, that's what.
And they were heavily regulated.
Heavily.
And for years, they exploited their consumer base. Hardcore exploited them. Like lined them up, bent them over, hardcore, as brutal as it gets.
Which is why they're not even allowed to have a consumer credit line. Yeah. That's how bad it is.
They're like, shut off.
They're like, dang, we can't even. We're just gonna stop it now.
Yeah.
So.
And to the point, this is we always have go-to points that we pull off the shelf. Well, this is the one I'm going to pull off the shelf. Regulators don't have the relevant knowledge to know what different assets or investments or contracts are the best for consumers. It's through this competition discovery process that we learn what works and what doesn't. And if people like this banker feel like that they can replace that with a technocratic elite, they just don't understand economics.
Or knowledge, how knowledge works among people, how we share and how we learn. And this will be something I know Devin, the spirit of Devin's out there somewhere. We'll bring this up at a podcast somewhere.
Now, without further ado, Jacob.
Well,
Holochain, us.
This is a long article that we pulled up. I don't know if you've seen this, Jacob, but this is just a perspective that they just posted recently that just kind of goes through how they're a different decentralized approach to data integrity, blockchain versus global consensus. Do you know, is there any of the technical specifics that you're familiar with that you'd like to explain?
Yes, I really, really love Holochain, and it's something that I eventually want to learn to develop on. It's nice because you have full stack integration as a developer. So if I want to use Rust, Go, whatever languages that I'm comfortable using, I can use those languages. It's just the way you stack everything is going to be a bit different because the Holochain kind of works like how cells in your body work. you have what they call like your DNA essentially is a copy of the code, which is your codes of conduct, what it is to be a good actor, because everything is peer to peer. So everyone is in their own little cell with a copy of the blockchain to recognize that and say, okay, well, this person is supposed to be acting within this. Similar how cells act a certain way because of your DNA. And in doing so, it creates this almost immune system-like response to bad actors within their own chain. It's super interesting. It's something that I definitely want to read more up on.
So it's kind of like the distinction between global consensus and local consensus. Is that kind of a way to think of it?
That's a great way to think of it. It's essentially the way, from my understanding, it is a peer-to-peer consensus. So everyone is a cell within a larger body. And to find out whether or not you're a good or a bad actor, I mean, the cells, they take a look at their DNA to reference it. Well, your Holo chain will be referenced. And so the interesting thing about that is you as an actor within this space, well, you can be warranted for certain behaviors. And it's so interesting.
So it's more like a set of rules that apply to each individual unit, node, or individual on the chain.
Exactly. And so they have their two types of data that allow for that. So you can actually build your own Holo chain with a different set of rules than, let's say, the overall chain. And so you can build your own blockchain and make it scalable with them.
Wow.
It's super interesting because it's like a multitude of connecting blockchains.
Right. But without the need for a global synchronization.
Exactly.
I like. There's an image. We have it up right now. When I saw this image, it kind of it triggered some things I remember hearing at Voice and Exit when we were talking with the founder. And this image really kind of it gives you a visual that simplifies some of these issues. And I thought it was great. Go ahead.
There's another image that I really like, and it's a picture of a donut. And it basically says the inside is like you, and the outside is the rest of the Holo chain ecosystem. That's kind of how it works, is you reference yourself to other people.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
I know they have some interesting developments in the works with carbon credits and trading carbon credits.
Oh, yes. So Gaja, if I'm saying that right, I really hope I'm saying that right, but it means elephant. And they're here to talk about the elephant in the room, which is climate change.
The environment, right.
Yeah. And so their aim is to be a scalable global emissions trading market. And the crazy part about that is there's just not one currently. And there's no way for us to have and trade data credit or carbon credits, I should say, getting all mixed up. Carbon credits. And in doing so, you're allowing a greener earth. And I really like the way that they set up, at least in their Gitcoin, they talk about how they want to be a mutual credit. It's essentially.
I saw
did I pass it up?
Yeah. Where is it?
A little further down.
Oh.
There it is. Mutual credit.
Mutual credit. There we go.
Yeah. So essentially what a mutual credit cryptocurrency is it would be pegged 1-to-1, exchangeable for how much action people put in place to take carbon out of the air. So in the same way that Holo chain is pegging its currency 1-to-1 to the overall computational power of the network, as the network grows, they say, so does the price. Same with Gaja. And I really do believe that this is a hidden gem, especially with the the elephant in the room. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, I was telling Lucas that when we were going over this, that it's exciting to me because it's another example of how blockchain is giving us an option to decentralize a way to a solution that we were prior to looking to the government to solve, with whether the Green New Deal or their own carbon trading program that they're supposed to be setting up. This is like just like we talk about with the welfare state and using blockchain to create mutual aid organizations to replace the need for a tax-funded welfare state. This is another example of how this can replace the need for a government solution. And if you're not a big fan of politics and the incentives in that world, this is the very thing you would want to look to create a more rational solution to climate change.
Well, and also you look at one of the major foundational documents or movements in this arena is the Kyoto Protocol in the 90s.
Yep.
And the whole idea is getting different nations to come together on regulations or limiting the amount of carbon emissions.
And that's been a problem, hasn't it? Because there's been a lack of consensus. There's been some of the developed countries have been eager to get on board, but the developing nations are seeing, well, wait a minute, you're going to impose these costs on us when you've had, 20, 30, 50, 100 years
right.
of a free
burning coal
ride,
and
basically.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And now that you've developed and you're, multi-trillion, dollar economies, now you're wanting to put a tax on everybody.
So it'll be interesting to see. Well, they could change, rules on different nations. They say they will, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, that's definitely bullish news because agree with it or not, believe
it's important.
Believe it or not, the whether or not it's an issue, it is a market. It is a real market that there are carbon credits that already exist. That there are companies that get subsidized. They get issued large amounts and they make money selling carbon credits to other companies that need to pollute more than they do. So it is a business. It is a market, and I would say that's very bullish for Holochain. If we see a robust market for trading these emissions, these carbon credits, that's huge because that is, like you said, Jacob, that's definitely an elephant in many, many rooms in many places around the world,
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on this, but one of the things we remember, I know you probably remember this, Lucas, but when we were in school studying economics, one of the things that we learned about was this concept of market failures, which is the idea that there are times when unregulated free markets or just people acting, interacting on their own without a regulation, how there's times where those markets can fail to produce the most optimal outcome. And one of the examples of this market failure was always pollution and these uninternalized costs, which gets saddled on to third parties who aren't part of whatever activity is going on. So it's like a third party paying the cost of these other parties' activities. And it was seen as a constant criticism of markets and capitalism was that these externalities were just rife. They were all over the economy. And to see the market
using a market as a solution.
Yeah. So solving that problem is really cool. Mm-hmm. It shows you that, market failures exist, but guess what? Those are profit opportunities that are just waiting to be exploited by some careful entrepreneur. And that just because the thing's not perfect doesn't mean that a regulator isn't necessarily the solution.
I dig it. Hey, so Jacob, were you wanting to point something out specific about the Gitcoin grants?
Well, I just wanted to let everybody know that you could check out their Gitcoin. You could always donate to the grant.
Got it.
I think it's important to take part in donations, especially in things that you believe in, especially when they're real early. Just like with Wise Token, They actually have their own grant, so that way they can go on.
Oh,
Kucoin.
wait a minute. We got to talk about that. That's huge news. That's huge news. I want to do a video about that later on. But is there a page for that, or is it just going to be on their main? Is it?
Let me see if I can try to pull it up for you. I'm
So-
not entirely.
So
sure
while
where
you're
it
trying to
is.
pull it up, I'm just going to say it. And Ryan, I mentioned this, we were talking about earlier, but one of the best exchanges for cryptocurrency is Kucoin. Kucoin's a great exchange out there because it's one of the few places that anyone around the world, if you're unbanked, just an email address, I believe, and a phone, and you'll be able to have access to the market. So Kucoin is huge. It's one of the largest under Binance, and Wise Token is doing a fundraiser so that it can be listed on Kucoin. Do you know how awesome and
That's
huge and beautiful it will be to have Wise Token listed on Kucoin? Are you joking me? This is awesome.
That's a video.
There's just a video about it?
No, so that's a video.
We'll do a video. We need to do a video and a countdown
I
because.
just sent it to you.
All right. Is it a link or is it a video?
It's a link.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have my email up right now.
Okay.
Is it? It's not through their main site though.
No, but you could pull up the YouTube video that Peter posted. If you go to what is it, Wise Staking on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why don't we find it while we're here? It's a pretty
good.
big deal. It's a pretty big deal. A KuCoin listing for Wise Token
Would
is
mean a lot.
huge. All right.
I'm actually trying to get enough Wise to set aside. I want to put aside 500, but I'm thinking 500 to 1,000 Wise tokens is what I want to put in.
Let's get on there and let's find this so we can show people how to support it. Would this be it? No, that's the
yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, that's
the
right
one.
there.
Yeah, I just got the watch. This is freaking awesome news.
Is there a link in the info?
I'm so excited. There is, I believe it's down below. Right there, legal opinion letter website.
Is that the one?
Yep.
Let's see what we got. And okay, dear group. Oh, contribute 16%. Cool. All right. Well, we're making some headway. 18 days. Dang, we got to push this. All right. I'm going to add some love too to this. This is awesome news. I would love if not everyone gets their Wise back. Everyone gets what they fund back if it doesn't work. But to be able to have Wise Token listed on KuCoin will be a huge feat. That's a major milestone. Another major milestone of success in the first year. I'm excited about that. So without getting held up too much, I want to go to something else you had, Jacob.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
This one's huge.
Yeah.
This one is huge. I do just want to make a quick mention about Holo Chain.
Do it.
And their mutual credit system. I would love, in a dream world, I would love a partnership with Wise Token because a Wise-backed Holo token would be amazing. A token that grows with its network, 1-to-1 ratio with its network, that is based off of the network effect, and a token that backs it with an ownerless liquidity pool would be absolutely amazing. And especially if they could manage to pull through with the Gotcha project.
Yeah, because that would really show bullish momentum for
It'd be
Holo
interesting to see how a DEX would operate on Holo Chain.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that would be very interesting.
You know, it'll be interesting to see how Holo Chain grows. I mean, it just is. That's why I didn't get involved in it years ago because I just didn't understand. I can wrap my head around blockchain. I could wrap my head around all these computers have to be in sync with the same code in order to win the mining, the algorithm. But it's just taken me a little bit longer to understand the technical side of holochain, but my mind's wrapping around a little more. So I'm
progress is being made.
Progress being made.
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
let's talk about this article with what was it? Net equity and Althea.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
decentralized internet. I mean, we're talking about a whole people being able to create their own internet networks through pre-existing cell phone towers. Is that basically what's up?
Mm-hmm. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's super interesting because net equity, they actually their whole goal is to create like a transcontinental fiber optic line that runs all around the North American, just everywhere. North America, South America, just cover all of the Americas in fiber optic and give fiber to everyone in the planet. Give
Wow.
everyone in the planet amazing internet. And they've teamed up with Althea, which they happen to have a blockchain solution to allow you to become the internet service provider.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a very interesting partnership that they're working.
And that's what I was. Here we go. Fast, affordable, locally run. And why I had that other article you sent, this is huge because it shows that they're using the previous infrastructure. They partnered with OPTK networks. They're leveraging pre-existing fiber optic cables in rural Nebraska is going to be their first project. So that's just really, it's beautiful to see how these projects are leveraging capital from other institutions, and
what I think about, what comes to mind when I see this project and I see the future of where it's heading, it makes me think that DeFi is going, no matter what the future holds in terms of the powers that be and what they intend to do, how benevolent they are going to be, whether or not they allow these sorts of networks and exchanges to continue, or whether or not they're going to insist on KYC. Mm-hmm. However that goes, if there's a decentralized meshnet based internet that's out there, it's really going to make it more resilient. It's going to create the opportunity for this to continue no matter what.
And the best thing I love about this is the way they incentivize you to give back is essentially you have one person running the main back end for everything, and then you would have relay nodes that pass along this signal. Anybody at all could become a relay, and I could become a relay and sell my internet to my neighbors, and that takes off my internet bill, and they can become a relay and sell to their neighbors, take off their internet bill, and all of a sudden you have affordable internet for everybody where you're paying little to nothing for usable internet, especially in rural areas.
Wow.
Yeah, the last mile service, I saw that's what they were looking to focus on. That's cool.
Very
because
cool.
That was the big challenge. It's not hard to imagine bringing internet to the dense urban areas, but how do you make it efficient and practical for the more remotely populated parts of the world? And this seems to be the answer.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something that's interesting. I like their approach to it rather than Starlink. I don't know if you're familiar with Starlink, but it's Elon Musk's. He's trying to bring internet to the world by launching satellites into space and then having the internet connection come on down and anyone can access it globally. But it's still going to be a centralized force. And at that point, if you have a global centralized internet, you have nothing gained. Yeah. What have you gained but prying eyes?
Right. And fragility. What if that goes down? What do you do?
Yeah.
It's a cloudy day.
And it requires such a leap in technology that we don't even have to get that to work anyway. It's like we're still using radio towers to send signals today. Like right now, you have it is radio towers that send it. People aren't aiming their dishes up to outer space. So to create this huge network of satellites to bestow internet over the world, when in reality we've got these great radio towers, these cell towers that are everywhere, all over the place. That we'll see.
It's like, why reinvent the wheel? We have all the tools here.
You know, if you could help, if you could help get some spots in the mountains, that'd be cool. If you can help get some spots in the ocean, that'd be cool. You know, but the idea that we need this huge satellite infrastructure that seems a little far fetched and expensive and unnecessary, but
and also perfectly suited for spying.
Right.
Yeah. You know, you got this satellite that's just right there, you know, looking down on potentially on whatever it wants to look at. You know, who knows what all is involved.
Well, I mean, if we look at SpaceX or Skynet or Elon Musk, I mean, he's notorious for being in bed with large state interests. I mean, you know, so that makes sense.
That's true.
Something I do want to speak on about Althea, if you want to actually click Get Started, right over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, click that. And then click Get Connected.
Okay. Find the network.
Right you can now, see what their network looks like.
Right now, you could actually buy internet service depending on your location, and you can file a little form here, so that way you can buy internet service from people providing it in your area. And depending on where you live, they have places in Texas, California, like all over. It's crazy to me because
that's awesome.
You would think that this is just a small project, but they have places in Nigeria. They have places all across the world that are already deploying this and using this.
Well, we're definitely going to leave a link to this. So if you want to get started and join, get connected, and support the network, this is how people started Bitcoin. This is how I recommend whenever you join a project to find all the ways you can be a part of the community and you can support it. It's not just hodling a coin. Sometimes you can earn just by supporting networks in this way. That's cool. That's a good find, man. Good find, brother. Yeah. Gentlemen, did we make it through? Was this a pretty good?
We nailed it.
A pretty good power hour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a blast.
I mean, I've got one last piece of surprise news. Just a quick bomb I can drop for you.
Drop it.
Well, do you remember the Deeper Connect, the Mini?
Yes.
It can mine HNT now. They just applied in the Helium Improvement Proposal to be a HNT provider. So that one device, if you already have one, you can just buy a little dongle and be mining both HNT and Deeper.
From the Deeper device?
From the Deeper device. From one single device. You don't have to buy another device. You just have to buy a little dongle for it that's going to be...
What's been your experience with the Deeper network?
So far?
Yeah.
Well, their mainnet's not live, so I can't speak on the mining profitability.
Got it.
But as far as the usability of the network, it really doesn't affect my network when I put it on smart path mode. And when I do have high congestion times, because I live in a house full of a lot of people, sure, and we all like to use the internet.
Sure.
Sometimes I will just turn it off if I'm having a very high traffic time. But for the most part, I really enjoy the fact that it blocks ads.
Nice.
It automatically blocks ads if I'm like surfing websites, going through news websites. They just don't even pop up.
Very cool, man. Very cool. And like you said, the mainnet hasn't even gone live yet. That's how early, that's how young the project is.
Yeah.
And you can mine Deeper, network, and Helium at the same time. I dig it. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna need one of those for Christmas.
I want that. I'm
trying to get more as soon as they're available. Maybe Santa's got something.
Well, we've talked the market into, we've talked it into a bear market. I think that's a good that's a good time to exit stage left, right? At least Bitcoin's still kind of in the green, but that's all right. It's a good time to consolidate. Everyone, hope you enjoyed hanging out. We always enjoy hanging out once a week to catch you up on the crypto news. We will be pumping out some more videos on more nuanced topics and go into more detail on some of these topics. So don't forget to hit the little bell, the like button, the subscribe. thank you. We really appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the economics of blockchain technology. And if you want us to look at a project in particular, drop us a comment or send us a message, and we'll be happy to look into that and bring it up on our next stream or in a video. And that's it. My piece. Let you guys say a little something on the outro here.
Well, thanks for coming and hanging out with us, Jacob. It's always a good time seeing you.
Always fun being on.
Especially during a Monday rally, which, well, until recently. Anyway, we'll stick with us. We'll be having a video in a few days on something. We're going to find some topic to throw at you. So anyway, thank you.
Have a nice one.
Till the next time, have a beautiful day. Namaste.